It was a quiet Tuesday night in a small Texas town. The kind of night where crickets chirp, porch lights glow, and neighbors wave but don't ask too many questions. Inside a tidy brick house on Maple Street, dinner dishes sat in the sink. A child's stuffed bear rested on the couch. Everything looked normal, but behind one closed bedroom door, nothing was normal at all. And what happened next would shake the whole town to its core. Her name was Simone Holloway. She was 38 years old. She had brown eyes, tired from years of working double shifts. She had a soft voice, the kind that calmed crying babies and soothed hurt feelings. She was a mom, a wife, and until that night, she believed she had a happy life. Her husband, Officer Darren Holloway, wore a police badge with pride. He smiled at church. He coached Little League. He hugged his daughter every morning before school. To the world, he was a hero. To Simone, he was her rock. Or so she thought. Their daughter, Lily, was 13. She had big blue eyes and curly hair she loved to braid. Lily had special needs. She didn't talk much. She got scared by loud noises. She trusted her daddy more than anyone. He was the one who held her hand at the doctor, who read her bedtime stories, who promised to always keep her safe. But promises can break, and some secrets are too dark to stay hidden. That night, Simone came home late. She'd been working at the diner. Her feet ached. All she wanted was a hot shower and to check on Lily before bed. She walked in the front door, called out, "Hey baby, Mama's home." No answer. The house felt too quiet. She walked down the hall, past the kitchen, past Lily's room. Door open, bed empty. That's when she heard it. A low sound. A giggle. Not Lily's giggle. It was Darren's, coming from the master bedroom. The door was cracked, just a little, enough to see inside. What Simone saw next changed everything. She dropped her purse. Her hands went cold. Her heart pounded like a drum. There, on the bed, was her husband. And there, beside him, was Lily. Not reading, not sleeping, not safe. What they were doing? Simone couldn't even think the words. Her mind screamed. Her body froze. Then, something inside her snapped. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She turned around, walked to the closet, pulled out the gun Darren kept for home protection. She knew how to use it. He'd taught her. Just in case, he'd said. She loaded it. Click, click. Her hands didn't shake. Her breath didn't catch. She walked back down the hall, opened the bedroom door all the way. Darren looked up. His face went white. "Simone," he started. Lily sat up, confused, scared. "Mama?" she whispered. Simone didn't speak. She raised the gun, pointed it at Darren. "You monster," she said, quiet, cold. He held up his hands. "Wait, please." That's when she pulled the trigger. Bang! One shot, right in his chest. He fell back, didn't move. Lily screamed. Simone turned the gun, looked at her daughter. Tears streamed down Lily's face. "Mama, no!" Simone's finger trembled. For 1 second, just one, she hesitated. Then she pulled the trigger again. Bang! Lily fell, silent. Neighbors heard the shots. Someone called 911. Police cars screeched to the house within minutes. They found Simone sitting on the porch steps, the gun in her lap, her face empty. No tears, no panic, just still. When they cuffed her, she didn't fight. "I did what I had to do," she said. That was all. News spread fast. A cop, a child, a mother who became a killer. People didn't know what to feel. Some called her a hero. She saved that girl from more pain, they said. Others called her a monster. She killed her own child, they cried. The town split in two. Church groups prayed for Lily. Protesters held signs outside the jail. justice for Simone, and murder is murder. At her trial, Simone didn't cry, didn't yell. She just told the truth. I saw what he was doing to her. I knew if I didn't stop it, no one would. The law protects men like him. Badges make people blind. The jury cried. The judge sighed. They found her guilty. But when it came time to sentence her, the room fell silent. Even the judge said, "I've never seen a case like this." She got life, no parole. She didn't flinch. In prison, Simone keeps to herself. She reads books, writes letters no one sends. Sometimes she stares at the ceiling and whispers Lily's name. Guards say she never smiles, never cries, just exists. Like part of her died that night too. What happened in that house? Was it justice? Was it madness? Was it love twisted into something dark? No one agrees. But this much is true. Simone Holloway loved her daughter. She trusted her husband. And when that trust broke, it broke everything. Her family, her future, her soul. Some say she should have called the police, let the courts handle it. But Simone knew better. She'd seen how the system works, how badges protect their own, how children like Lily, quiet, different, scared, get ignored. She didn't want promises. She didn't want trials. She wanted it to stop, forever. And she made sure it did. Could it have been prevented? That question lingers like smoke after a fire, thick, suffocating, impossible to ignore. Yes, maybe, probably. Almost certainly if the world had been just a little more awake, a little more brave, a little less polite. If someone, anyone, had listened sooner. Lily Holloway was 13, nonverbal in moments of stress, hypersensitive to touch, to noise, to change. She flinched at slamming doors. She clung to routine like a life raft. She trusted her father more than anyone, not because he deserved it, but because she was taught to. "Daddy's safe," Simone would whisper as she tucked her in. "Daddy loves you." And Lily believed it, because children do. Especially children like Lily. Children whose worlds are smaller, whose voices are quieter, whose pain doesn't scream. It whispers. And whispers get lost in the noise of everyday life. Studies from the CDC and the National Child Traumatic Stress Network show that children with developmental disabilities are 3 to 5 times more likely to experience sexual abuse than their neurotypical peers. Why? Because predators target vulnerability. Because these children are less likely to report, less likely to be believed, and more likely to be dismissed as confused, overstimulated, or acting out. Lily didn't have the words. Even if she did, would anyone have understood? Would they have blamed her stimming, her meltdowns, her silence? Simone worked double shifts at Maggie's Diner, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., then 5 p.m. to midnight. She came home smelling like grease and coffee, feet swollen, eyes heavy. She kissed Lily's forehead, checked her homework, what little there was, read her a story, always the same one, The Velveteen Rabbit, because Lily loved the part where love makes you real. Simone never suspected. Why would she? Darren was Officer Holloway, PTA volunteer, neighborhood watch captain, the guy who fixed Mrs. Jenkins' fence after the storm. He coached t-ball. He donated toys at Christmas. He cried at church when the choir sang Amazing Grace. But monsters don't wear horns. They wear uniforms. They wear wedding rings. They wear World's Best Dad t-shirts on Sundays. Research from RAIN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, reveals that 93% of child sexual abuse victims know their abuser. Not strangers in alleyways, not shadowy figures, not bad men. It's uncles, pastors, teachers, coaches, fathers, husbands, men with clean records and cleaner reputations.
Men like Darren Holloway. Simone missed the signs, not because she was negligent, but because she was human. Love is a kind of blindness. Trust is a kind of surrender. She noticed Lily started wetting the bed again, at 13. She noticed her daughter flinched when Darren raised his voice, even playfully. She noticed Lily stopped braiding her hair, the one thing that brought her joy. But Simone chalked it up to puberty, to stress, to just a phase. She asked once, gently, "Baby, is something wrong?" Lily just shook her head and buried her face in her stuffed rabbit. And that was that. The system failed too. Lily's school counselor, Ms. Ruiz, noted increased anxiety and regressive behaviors in her file. But without a verbal disclosure, without bruises, without proof, protocol dictated observation, not intervention. Child Protective Services requires credible evidence to open a case. A child's silence doesn't count. A mother's gut doesn't count. A pattern of small red flags? Not enough. Darren knew this. He counted on it. He'd seen it in his years on the force, how the system protects its own, how allegations against officers get lost in paperwork, how internal affairs closes 80% of misconduct cases with no finding, how juries trust a badge more than a sobbing mother or a nonverbal child. So he calculated, he controlled, he charmed, and no one stopped him. Until Simone did. This story isn't just about a mom, or a cop, or a little girl who never got to grow up. It's about the architecture of betrayal. It's about how institutions, schools, churches, police departments, social services are built to respond to crises, not prevent them. They wait for blood. They wait for screams. They wait for someone to break, completely, publicly, irreversibly, before they act. And by then, it's too late. It's about maternal rage, not as madness, but as the last desperate language of love when all others have failed. Simone didn't shoot in passion. She shot in purpose. She loaded the gun with the same hands that packed Lily's lunch. She pulled the trigger with the same heart that rocked her through night terrors. This wasn't revenge. It was rescue. Twisted, tragic, terminal rescue. It's about the unbearable weight of knowing you failed your child, not through neglect, but through trust. The cruelest irony, Simone gave Darren access to Lily because she believed he would protect her. And he did, from everything except himself. It's about silence. The silence of neighbors who didn't want to get involved. The silence of coworkers who noticed Darren's odd comments about Lily but laughed them off. The silence of the church deacon who saw Lily shrink when Darren touched her shoulder and told himself, he's just affectionate. Silence isn't neutral. It's complicity. It's consent. It's the oxygen abuse breathes. And yes, it's a warning. Loud, clear, screaming from the page. Behind closed doors, the most dangerous people are rarely strangers. They're the ones who say grace before dinner, who post family photos on Facebook, who wave at you from their porch. Evil doesn't announce itself. It assimilates. It smiles. It volunteers. It wears a badge, a cross, a wedding band. Simone's house still stands on Maple Street. It's been 5 years now. The white picket fence is broken in 3 places. The mailbox hangs crooked, rusted shut. The grass? Waist high in summer, brittle and brown in winter. Dandelions push through cracked concrete. A child's swing set in the backyard, the blue plastic seat faded to gray, creaks in the wind. Empty. The windows are boarded up. Not by the city, but by Darren's own brother Rick, who came once, wept on the porch, nailed the plywood shut, and never returned. Too much pain in these walls, he told the local paper. Let it rot. Kids from the middle school 2 blocks over dare each other to touch the front gate after dark. If you say, Simone Holloway 3 times, she'll appear, they whisper. They say she walks the halls at midnight, still looking for Lily. Some leave flowers, wilted daisies, store-bought carnations, on the steps. Others spray paint Justice or Y in shaky letters on the garage door. The city paints over it. The kids write it again. A realtor tried to sell it twice, listed it as a fixer-upper with character. Both times buyers backed out, after Googling the address. One wrote in her review, I felt watched, like something in that house was grieving. Urban explorers have broken in, posted shaky flashlight videos on TikTok. Inside the Texas mom house, emoji screaming, #ghost, #truecrime, #haunted. They show peeling floral wallpaper. A child's crayon drawing still taped to the fridge, a stick figure family smiling under a yellow sun. It reads, Lily and Mama and Daddy. The comments flood in, crying. This broke me. What if that was my kid? The city council debated tearing it down. Some argued it was a blight, a monument to violence. Others, survivors, advocates, mothers, fought to keep it standing. It's a memorial, said one woman at the town hall meeting, gripping her daughter's hand. It's a reminder. Tear it down and we pretend it never happened. We can't afford to forget. So it stands. A tomb with a roof. A museum of broken trust. And what if someone had intervened? What if Ms. Ruiz, the school counselor, had called Simone in for a real conversation, not a formality, but a reckoning? What if she had said, I'm worried. Let's bring in a specialist. Let's get Lily a trauma-informed therapist, no matter what she can or can't say. What if the pediatrician, during Lily's annual checkup, had asked not just any fevers, but any changes in behavior, any new fears, any discomfort around certain people, and then actually listened to the pause in her answer? What if Darren's fellow...
But if you stop, if you listen real close, you might hear something. A child's laugh, a woman crying, a gunshot echoing through time. This isn't just a crime. It's a tragedy, a warning, a question with no easy answer. What would you have done? This story is based on true events, real pain, real people, real choices that can't be undone. To protect those still healing, and out of respect for lives shattered by this tragedy, we've changed some names and softened a few details. But the heart of it, that's all true. Sometimes the full truth is too heavy to carry alone, too dark to say out loud without breaking something inside us. That's why stories like this one matter. They don't just shock us, they wake us up. If this story made you feel angry, you're not wrong. If it made you cry, you're not weak. If it scared you, good. That fear means you care. And you are not alone. So many people feel the same way after hearing what happened in that quiet Texas house. The most important thing you can do? Talk. Tell someone how it made you feel. Ask hard questions. Don't turn away just because it's uncomfortable. Because silence is what lets bad things grow. Silence lets monsters pretend they're normal. Silence lets hurt stay hidden until it's too late. If you're scared no one will believe you, tell them anyway. Say it out loud, write it down, send a text. Keep telling until someone listens. You don't need proof. You don't need to be perfect. You just need courage. And that's something everyone can find, even in the smallest whisper. If you think it's not your business, make it your business. Abuse, neglect, betrayal, these aren't family matters to ignore. They're human matters. And every one of us has a duty to care when someone is suffering, especially a child. Kids like Lily, gentle, quiet, trusting, need voices when they can't speak for themselves. Be that voice. Step in. Call for help, knock on a door, send a message, do something, anything. Because doing nothing, that's how pain becomes a secret, and secrets become tragedies. And if this story shook you, don't hold it in. Share it. Talk about it with friends, family, teachers, counselors. Post it. Discuss it. Let it start hard conversations at dinner tables and school halls. The more we talk, the less power shame and silence have. Subscribe to stories like this not for the drama, but for the truth, for the warning, for the chance to do better next time. Because the next child being hurt might be sitting next to yours in class. The next mom breaking inside might be your neighbor. The next broken home might look just like yours. Clean curtains, smiling photos, quiet screams behind closed doors. It's closer than you think. And now that you know, you can't unknow it. So don't look away. Don't stay silent. Don't wait for someone else to act. Be brave. Be loud. Be kind. Be awake. Because stories like this, they don't just remember the past. They can change the future, if we let them.